Welcome to Leaders HQ, your source for leadership growth and development. We're a community of leaders on YouTube. In this video, we're diving into the topic of increasing your leadership strength and influence, the transformation from overcoming self-doubt to lead effectively. Leadership challenges like this are more common than you might think, and they often create ripple effects, lowering team morale, reducing trust, and hindering progress. Do you, a leader in your community, ever feel less confident in some way? Are there moments where self-doubt holds you back from stepping into your full potential as a leader? To illustrate, we've created a fiction story called The Campaign. It's a story about Robert, the campaign manager, and his work to lead a political campaign. Robert, a newly minted campaign leader, was invited to deliver a speech to influential community leaders, a fantastic opportunity. But instead of excitement, he felt paralyzed by self-doubt. His fear of failure and feeling average clouded his ability to prepare and lead effectively. Stick with us as we unpack this challenge and offer real solutions to help leaders like Robert and you grow beyond these obstacles. Robert's lack of confidence is holding him back. It's not just about him, it's about his team. Without a clear and inspiring leader, the team struggles to find direction. Robert is starting to see that he needs to increase his strength and influence as a leader. He is starting to feel the weight of leading and knows that if he doesn't increase his leadership strength and confidence, many problems will arise. It affects himself, his volunteers, and his community. Here is a little about what's been happening. Meetings are tense, decisions are delayed, and morale is starting to slip. If things don't change, Robert risks losing the trust and respect of the very people who are counting on him. This problem doesn't stop with Robert. It spills over into the campaign itself. Donors are asking questions. Voters are unimpressed. The campaign's energy feels scattered, disorganized. Critical deadlines are slipping, and the lack of a strong strategy is making it hard to stand out in a competitive race. What should be a movement of hope and change feels like it's losing steam. And what about the community? The stakes here are high. Without strong leadership, this campaign could fail to address the very issues that matter most to the people it serves. Worse, a poorly run campaign might erode trust in the political process itself. If Robert and his team don't succeed, it could discourage others from stepping up to lead in the future. What happens when communities lose faith in leadership altogether? But this story isn't over yet. With the right steps, Robert can transform his challenges into opportunities, becoming the leader his team, campaign, and community need. The question is, how? Like every leader, Robert has some large blind spots, and it's affecting how things are working around him. Robert's blind spot, an unseen barrier that threatens to derail his leadership journey. Let's explore 3 possible reasons for this critical challenge. First, Robert's blind spot may stem from his lack of leadership experience. Without a strong foundation in managing teams or projects, he relies on instinct rather than strategy. This can lead to missed opportunities and a failure to recognize potential risks before they escalate. Second, his blind spot could be rooted in self-doubt. Having always seen himself as average, Robert struggles to trust his own decisions. This insecurity makes him hesitant to delegate tasks or take decisive action, leaving his team feeling unsupported. Finally, Robert may be too focused on short-term goals. In his effort to prove himself quickly, he overlooks the long-term strategies needed for sustainable success. This narrow perspective can cause him to ignore vital details or emerging challenges. It is urgent that Robert starts to grow as a leader. Uncovering and addressing these blind spots is essential if Robert is to grow into the leader his team and community need him to be. This video's promise is simple: to empower you to lead with confidence and clarity, no matter where you are in your leadership journey. The good news? You're not alone, and the challenges you face as a leader can be overcome with the right mindset and tools. And that's exactly what we're here to provide. In this video, we'll give you the tools to uncover blind spots, build trust, and inspire your team to achieve greatness. Here's how we'll do it. First, we'll explore the subject to understand the root of the problem. Then, we'll break it down into actionable steps you can implement right away. So, Stay tuned. Your leadership transformation starts now. You may be asking what happened that caused Robert to question his leadership and feel self-doubt. Let's continue this story. Robert is faced with a defining moment. His campaign is at a critical juncture, and all eyes are on him to steer the ship. The team is meeting to finalize a key decision for the upcoming community event, a decision that could determine the campaign's momentum. But Robert hesitates. As the leader, he knows the weight of this decision, yet his self-doubt holds him back. His silence is palpable, and the once energetic meeting stalls. Volunteers exchange uneasy glances, unsure of what to do next. This moment is a wake-up call. Robert must step up or risk his team losing faith in his leadership. Trust is the foundation of every successful team, but in Robert's case, it's starting to crumble. The team senses his hesitation and begins to second-guess his ability to lead. Without trust, even the best strategies fall flat because the team needs to believe in the vision to execute it effectively. Robert's blind spot here is critical. He doesn't realize that leadership isn't about always having the right answers. It's about showing confidence in the process and in the people around him. If he can build trust through consistency and decisive actions, his team will regain their faith and commitment. Robert assumes his team understands his goals, but the reality is far from it. Miscommunication is leading to missed deadlines, duplicated efforts, and growing frustration. His instructions often lack the clarity and specificity needed for effective execution. For example, during a recent campaign meeting, Robert vaguely outlined plans for voter outreach, leaving the team scrambling to interpret what he wanted. The result? A disjointed effort that fell short of expectations. Clear, consistent communication isn't just a nice-to-have. It's essential for aligning the team and driving results. By learning to articulate his vision and provide actionable steps, Robert can turn confusion into cohesion. Robert is carrying the weight of the campaign on his shoulders, but it's a load no one can bear alone. His reluctance to delegate stems from a fear that tasks won't be done right. But this mindset is causing burnout among his team and himself. Recently, Robert took on the task of planning a major fundraiser, something his logistics expert, Alex, was better equipped to handle. The event was underwhelming, and the team felt undervalued. Delegation isn't about giving away work. It's about empowering others to use their strengths. By trusting his team with responsibility, Robert can unlock their potential and free himself to focus on the bigger picture. The realization is clear. Leadership isn't about perfection, it's about progress. By building trust, communicating effectively, and empowering his team, Robert can transform from a hesitant leader to an inspiring one. The path forward isn't about doing it alone. It's about leading together. Now that we've uncovered the challenges Robert faces and the steps he must take to overcome them, it's time to see these principles in action. How does a leader like Robert transform from uncertainty to confidence? In the next scene, we'll explore a real-world example of someone who faced similar obstacles and discover the lessons that can guide Robert and leaders like you to success. Let's take a moment to look at a real-world leader who had to build up his leadership strength and confidence. Everyone has heard of Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill's leadership during World War II is one of the most studied examples of influence in history. Early in his career, however, Churchill's leadership had clear limitations that nearly prevented him from becoming the iconic figure we remember today. According to John C. Maxwell's Law of the Lid, a leader's effectiveness is determined by their ability to grow and overcome personal limits. Churchill's evolution from a brash politician to a revered wartime leader demonstrates how lifting the lid on personal and leadership shortcomings can exponentially increase influence. Before becoming prime minister, Churchill had a reputation for being bold but divisive. His strong opinions and unwavering confidence in his own ideas often alienated colleagues and created friction within his political circles. Churchill's early political career was marked by failed initiatives and a perception that he was more focused on personal ambition than collaboration. One notable failure was the Gallipoli campaign during World War I, where his rigid and overconfident approach to naval strategy led to disastrous results. The fallout damaged his reputation and caused many to question his judgment. Churchill's leadership lid at this point was low, capped by his inability to listen to others delegate effectively, or acknowledge his blind spots. Churchill's dismissal from the Admiralty after Gallipoli was a humbling experience. Forced into political exile, he spent years reflecting on his mistakes and seeking personal growth. During this time, Churchill began to understand the importance of listening to others and building collaborative relationships. His time away from power served as a critical period of self-awareness and development. As Churchill returned to prominence in the late 1930s, he demonstrated a more balanced leadership approach. His speeches and writings during this time showed a leader who had not only deepened his expertise, but also learned to connect with diverse audiences and stakeholders. He started to exhibit the ability to unite people behind a common cause, a skill that would prove invaluable in the years ahead. When Churchill became Prime Minister in 1940, Britain faced one of its darkest hours. The threat of Nazi invasion loomed large, morale was low, and there was deep division within the government. Churchill recognized that no single person could lead Britain to victory alone. He needed to lift his own lid as a leader by empowering others and fostering a sense of shared purpose. Delegation and empowerment. Churchill understood that he couldn't win the war without a strong team. He began to rely heavily on his war cabinet, delegating responsibilities to trusted advisors like Clement Attlee and Anthony Eden. By empowering these leaders to take ownership of their roles, Churchill freed himself to focus on strategic vision and national morale. Collaboration across differences. One of Churchill's greatest strengths was his ability to work with those who disagreed with him. Despite their political differences, he built strong relationships with leaders like U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt and Soviet Premier Joseph Stalin. Churchill's ability to collaborate across ideological lines was critical in forging the Allied partnership that ultimately defeated the Axis powers. Inspiring through communication. Churchill's speeches during the war showcased his ability to inspire and unite a nation. His words lifted the spirits of not only his people, but also his allies around the world. Through clear and compelling communication, Churchill raised the collective belief that victory was possible, even in the face of overwhelming odds. By addressing his limitations and focusing on personal growth, Churchill lifted his leadership lid and extended his influence exponentially. His willingness to delegate, collaborate, and inspire transformed him from a polarizing figure to a unifying leader. The impact of this transformation was felt not only within his inner circle, but also across the entire nation and the world. Under Churchill's leadership, Britain stood resilient against the Nazi onslaught and became a beacon of hope for freedom and democracy. His example demonstrates that leaders who identify and raise their lid not only improve their own effectiveness, but also elevate those around them. Churchill's story is a powerful reminder that leadership is a skill that can be developed through self-awareness, adaptability, and a commitment to continuous growth. The aha moment? Even one of the greatest leaders of our time had to learn that leadership isn't about doing everything yourself. It's about inspiring and empowering others to achieve a shared vision. Just like Winston Churchill evolved, so can Robert, and so can you. Now it's your turn to take action. Leadership isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Start by identifying one area in your leadership where you can improve, whether it's building trust, communicating clearly, or empowering your team. Reflect on your blind spots and take the first step toward addressing them today. Challenge yourself to step out of your comfort zone. Ask for feedback from your team, delegate a task you've been holding on to, or set a clear vision for your next big project. Remember, every great leader begins by making small, intentional changes. And don't stop there. Join the conversation. Like this video if it inspired you, subscribe to our channel for more leadership insights, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Together, we can build a community of leaders who uplift and empower each other. In this journey, we've seen how our campaign manager Robert's challenges mirror those faced by leaders everywhere. From identifying blind spots to building trust, communicating clearly, and empowering others, we've learned that leadership is a skill that grows with practice and intention. Remember, leadership isn't about doing it all yourself. It's about creating an environment where everyone can succeed. By taking small, consistent steps, you can transform not only your leadership, but also the impact you have on your team and your community. Thank you for watching, and for taking the time to invest in your growth as a leader. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Your engagement helps us create more content that inspires and empowers leaders like you. Together, we can build a community of changemakers who lead with confidence and purpose. We'll see you in the next video.